Thanks for your support as a channel member, Sean MRV! F1 returns to North America for the Canadian Grand Prix, a place where pretty much anything can happen. And I'm thinking there's going to be a first for someone in F1 this weekend. Hello folks, and welcome to my predictions for the 2025 Canadian Grand Prix held at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal. A circuit where, if you get it wrong, it punishes you. We've seen drivers in the past be leading races and they run out of gears. Nigel Mansell. We've seen Fernando Alonso hit the wall whilst leading in a Renault. We've seen drivers go out the pit lane, or well, crash while going out the pit lane. Lewis Hamilton in 2008. But it's also a circuit that throws up the unexpected. Think Takuma Sato overtaking Fernando Alonso in 2007 in a Super Aguri while Alonso was in a race-winning McLaren. It's a place where things happen, and I think we're going to see something happen this weekend. So let's get straight into the predictions, and here's what I think is going to happen. Let's start with qualifying and pole position, of course. Oscar Piastri has been the man to beat, really, over a single lap on Saturdays, and I think he's going to take another pole position. He took the largest pole margin in Spain so far this season. It was just over 0.2 of a second, which isn't very much. If you think back in the day, pole position would be decided by 0.75 of a second on occasions, and you know that's covering the entire field nowadays. So it tells you exactly how close F1 is, and Piastri is again going to be the man to beat. McLaren have a car that's very good on its rear tyres, and there's lots of traction zones in Canada, so expect them to be at the front. Now, I'm going with Lando Norris to win the race. I just think there's going to be a safety car or something that's going to work in the British driver's favour. It might just come at a bad time for Piastri, or he might even have an error of his own. It's a place where things happen. So I can see the McLaren's locking out the front row and then being swapped around come race day. And they're going to be joined on the podium by a Mercedes driver. Andrea Kimi Antonelli is going to get his maiden F1 podium in Montreal, following in the footsteps of the man he replaced at Mercedes, Lewis Hamilton, who got his first F1 win in Canada. Antonelli's going to make his first appearance on the podium in Canada as well. What's going to happen to the Ferraris? Well, they're probably not going to be very good. Verstappen and Russell will probably tangle with each other if they're anywhere close to one another on the circuit. So yeah, lots of things could happen. But don't rule out another left field podium for maybe a Williams, or even potentially a V-Carb at a Racing Bulls might be there. So yeah, could be a fun race. But that's my podium: Norris, Piastri and Antonelli. Now, we always do a bold prediction, but I've started categorising them, being a bit more specific. And this one is around the first driver to DNF, to did not finish. So this driver has to start the race. If they don't start the race, it doesn't count. I'm going with Yuki Tsunoda. I just think the Red Bull, it's a bit tricky to tame. Montreal can be tricky at the best of times, and if you're lacking confidence in your car, then I think, yeah, Yuki, it might just end up in the Wall of Champions for him at some point on race day, or one of the other many walls around the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Alright, time for some of your predictions. Let's see what you guys think is going to happen this weekend. Let's start with Knight, who's gone with Lando on pole, and then a podium of Oscar, Leclerc and Russell, with Lance Stroll, the returning Lance Stroll, to be our first DNF. Maybe that's because he's run out of hands or something, because they're just tired from his operation. But good to see him back. It would have been nice to see Drugovich get a chance, but obviously we don't want drivers missing races. And it's his home race as well for Lance Stroll, so nice to have him back for that. Alfie has gone with Oscar to take pole and the victory ahead of Lando and Charles Leclerc, with George Russell the first driver to fail to finish. Although Crispy Bacon has gone with George Russell on pole position, but it's going to be Piastri, Russell, Norris on the podium, with Colapinto our first driver not to finish. Crazy Plays goes with Max Verstappen to take pole and the win ahead of the two McLarens, while Fernando Alonso is their pick for the first driver to DNF. Pyrosius has gone. Wow, this is wow, this is lots going on here. I should have checked this before recording. So pole position for Charles Leclerc and a race win in a Ferrari 1-2. And then third is either Lando, Oscar, Stroll or Alonso. Okay, first DNF is Behrman or Bortoleto. Alonso gets more points. Max miraculously gets one more penalty point to give him a race ban. Wow, that would be interesting. So, moving on to George R, who goes with Verstappen on pole ahead of Lando, Lando, Max and Oscar to be the podium trio, with Bortoleto the first driver not to finish. Optics has gone with Piastri to take pole and the race win ahead of Norris and Verstappen. Bortoleto also his pick for the first driver to DNF. What's Jezza got? Pole for Piastri, win for Piastri ahead of the two Ferraris, and Verstappen to get a race ban. Interesting. Two people thinking Verstappen's going to be in a bit of bother this weekend. Justin has gone for Piastri to take pole and the win ahead of Lando Norris and George Russell. Interesting. Colapinto is his pick for the first DNF. Locapup has gone for Lando Norris on pole. He'll win the race ahead of Verstappen and Piastri. And Yuki Tsunoda is their choice for the first DNF. And finally, Renz has gone with Verstappen to win pole position and to win the race ahead of the two McLarens, but nobody to fail to finish. Amazing predictions. Thank you to everyone who has submitted them and for getting involved. If we get anything that shows up on there, I think we're in for a very interesting weekend of Formula One action. But yeah, plenty to look forward to. Let's see how things pan out. If you enjoyed the video, leave a nice big thumbs up and subscribe for more predictions, more F1 Manager and more F1 25 action on this channel. I'll see you next time. You're the best, fans. Bye for now.